Welcome to The Fix. Sit down with copywriting experts Nick O'Connor and Glenn Fisher as they review, discuss, and improve real-world copy sent in by you. This is The Fix.
Right then, Glenn. It's been 2 weeks, give or take, since Fix Fest. Looking back, give me your favourite moment.
Favorite moment? Oh, I can't get past the moment out at 6 o'clock in the morning or somewhere close to that. I was just stood on a hanging from a railing trying to attach a sign for the Fix Fest sign to that, and I just thought we have to have a look at health and safety here. And I think I said start the health and safety risk assessment after I've climbed down from this railing. But I feel like that kind of captured the whole day of how I felt. I was tense throughout it, but it was beautiful. So that's the memory I go to. My favorite moment? I don't know. I enjoyed a lot. I thought Kane's talk was great. I thought he did really well. And I really enjoyed the moment of Natalie Moore's poetry slam, getting everybody on stage. When she'd emailed us weeks before, we get to see everything leading up to it. So like it's those little moments that pay off. And she was like, "Oh, good. Do you think I'll be able to get everybody in the room to interact?" And she really did. And she had 10 people on stage and made 12 off the cuff poem about Fix Fest, which was kind of brilliant. It was great. It was all great.
One thing that you cannot control when you're running an event is people's response. I suppose that's true in all advertising, actually. You can't ever control what your audience will respond to. You can hope and pray that they'll behave a certain way, but you can never know. And with an event like that, let's face it, it was a weird thing to do. The whole idea of Fix Fest was a bit of a whim and a bit of a, why don't we do this? It might be fun. Why don't we do it in a church? It might be fun. Why don't we have a choir? That might be fun. Why don't we play table tennis? That might be quite good. Let's do this. Let's do that. We figured all these ideas out and thought that might work. That might be fun. And Natalie Moore's talk was kind of part of that. Let's see if we can give everybody a minute to write a line of poetry, and then see if somebody will come up on stage and read it. That might be fun. What's great is when you hope that, and the audience, the people you're there with, respond just the way that you sort of had dreamed they would, to put it in sort of Disney terms. And that's exactly what happened over and over again.
It was just the smiles. You can see it on the little VT kind of thing. It's like your wedding. You can't see. Well, not that I've had a wedding, but
you see what's mine. It's fine.
It's like your wedding, but you can't see what's going on, and then you see it afterwards. But just the smiling and the happiness and the running around speaking to people. We're just seeing people talk to each other and engage. People won't believe it. Oh, actually, I don't. That's me being cynic. I'm a cynical man. But when you say oh no, it's just really nice to see people having fun and getting together. But it really, really is. It's really nice when you go, oh right, that person from that world who I've known through one thing is speaking to that person who I know through another thing. I kind of know quite a lot of those people or know where they've come from. So it's really, I remember walking in with Andrew Bolton and he going, they're my students. And he had no idea that some of his students had bought tickets and were coming to see the thing. Yeah. And it was that kind of connection. That's nice. And I think the more of that we can create and enable, the better. But yeah, it was good. It was a good day. It was good.
By the way, thanks for asking what my favorite moment was, but I'll tell you anyway. So the morning was good.
What was your worst moment?
I'll tell you my worst moment afterwards. Okay. Hey, I've already thought this through. You think there's no structure to this? You're rambling. I'm here. I'm the scaffolding that keeps the crumbling edifice that is Glenn Fisher upright. If only people knew how true that was. My favorite moment was at the end of the day. I think we'd cleared out of the crypt and everyone had sort of gone outside for a drink or whatever. And we went back to the hotel briefly, didn't we? Just to dump our bags, change clothes, have a quick shower. We hit the showers after a day of running FixFest. And then
I don't want to, I have to interrupt you just to understand on the, people will find it incredible. So I spent like, 3-4 days with you, Nick. The speed at which you shower needs to be acknowledged. Like me and Gabe, who we work with on the Fix as well, we were like saying, right, we'll meet downstairs in the lobby in like 25 minutes. It was like, no, now. And it was 10 minutes. And I went for a shower to try and do it at your speed. And it was still like the fastest shower I've ever taken. And I was still too slow. I couldn't understand.
You're a Batman, aren't you? Anyway,
yeah.
So we dumped all of our stuff and we went back round from the hotel, which is about 400 yards round the corner from the hotel, back to the venue to go and have a drink with everybody. Bear in mind, obviously, we planned this pub crawl. We had about, I think there's 180 people at FixFest, plus there's some other people came, so maybe 150 by this point. Not everybody can stay all day, what have you. In my mind, I thought, right, there's going to be a pub crawl of maybe 15 to 20 people. The people who we've known have flown into town or whatever, some of the speakers. And when we came around that corner and in front of us, the street was mobbed. The pub, it wasn't just like outside the pub. It was all across the street, all of the other side, the steps of the church. There must have been, 120 people there at that point. And that was the moment that I thought, oh, wow, this is great. Because again, you can't control people's response to that. You can say, we're going to do this, it would be fun. But until people it's a little bit like when you write a promotion and you actually start to see the response. In fact, this all of what we're talking about has that quality to it, which is you work and you work and you work on a piece of copy, but it's not until it goes out there into the world and you start to see, has it moved people or hasn't it, that you actually get that jolt of feedback, that wow. And coming around that corner and seeing everybody out there on the street had that quality, which is like, people didn't have to stick around for a drink. They must be having fun. And I think there's an element in your mind that you're worried before you do it, something like that writers, copywriters, we can be a weird, cynical, nail-bitten, hard-nosed old bunch, because that's part of what the industry kind of makes you into. You have to be a bit cynical and on the side, and you always worry, what's it going to be like once you get a bunch of those people together? And to see people, like you said, just, that's somebody I know from home, with somebody from the States, with somebody who's just getting into the industry, and they're all just having a pint, and you look around an hour later and they're still all having a chat. You think, that's really nice. So I think it was that community, that sense of community, that was the best part.
You've triggered one thought, which I'll say, because I think it's important, and I think it goes to the heart of what we're trying to do with the Fix generally. I was warmed and pleased by the amount of people who came to me and said, sometimes a little bit like, oh, that was weird. And it was the mix that we had from like the above the line agency kind of in-house world versus the direct response traditional kind of direct mail world and all of that kind of stuff, and the way that caused some people to like have disparate opinions, like conflicting opinions and all of that kind of stuff. And that was good. It was a positive thing, and people got to see, maybe didn't even agree with what one person was saying or vice versa kind of thing. That now, the more I think about that afterwards, I was like, yes, that's what we're trying to do. That's the whole point. Like, we're trying to bring together copywriters, people who persuade and do that kind of thing. And to see that like in action, and to see copywriters from either side of the aisle, so to speak, going, oh, right, yeah, that I didn't realize that. Because that's what I went through myself when I stopped working full-time in Agora to working for agencies and big brands and what have you, and doing all the weird little stuff. It was like, right, there's bits on both sides. And to see that in reality, in actual tangible existence was great. The more we can do that, that's partly why.
That's true. Although I would say it also demonstrated how much more work there is to be done, because there were moments where you realize just what a different language those two groups of people can speak. Not entirely, but sometimes they feel very close. Like, we're all copywriters. We're all just getting people to, remember us and act on what it is we want to do. And then there's other times where you think we're talking at completely cross purposes, because we don't need to delve too deeply into the ins and outs of each talk, because people can go and watch those talks. They're all, I can't remember what we're selling them for, but they're all for sale, and people can go and watch them. But there are moments where, if you're a business owner and you rely on direct response copywriting principles, you think, I'll give my copywriting team $1 million and they'll come back to me with $10 million. That's how that works. And the way in which that is almost impossible for them to understand, why you might give that $1 million to a different group of people who will come back with an advert and no numbers. And that it's almost impossible to translate that to somebody on the other side. And meanwhile, on the other side, somebody who's used to working in media and creating things which is kind of catchy and edgy and beautiful, but ultimately impossible to measure, that's a very difficult circle to square off. But like you say, I think that's where the spark is a little bit. That's kind of around that area is where you want to be. And when we do Fix Fest next year, because, spoiler alert, we are doing it next year. I'm not going to tell everybody the date, but we do have Electric Boogaloo. It's happening. It's happening next year. And
can I be Michael Corleone? You be De Niro. I'll be Pacino. That's the Godfather Part 2.
Yeah.
The sequel will be better than the first.
And we're going to do dressing gowns next year instead of hats.
But then Fix 3 in 2025 will just be you sat amongst tomato plants, just falling over and dying.
No, but we are going to do it next year. And I think that getting that relationship between the two sides, what can the world of direct response learn from the agency world? What can the agency world learn from the world of direct response? Orchestrating that conversation, to sound slightly more highfalutin than either of us actually are, is probably, that's something that I know we can work at next year, because that's where the energy is. So that's what people can expect next year. And by the way, if you were impressed by this year's guest list, just wait until next year. I mean, that was the other great thing. There was people, I looked out in the audience and saw 5 or 6 of the best copywriters I know who weren't even speaking. There was a whole lineup of brilliant copywriters. I mean, we won't name them because it's unfair, because they were there as guests or as our friends or as paying customers. But there was some brilliant talent just in the audience, and it made me think, wow, we have only just scratched the surface of what we can do with this. But there was one thing we didn't get a chance to do, right, Glenn? So one thing we learned as organizers was we tried to cram a little bit too much into the day. So we had to cut from the day, because of time constraints, the competition. Had we done the competition on stage, lunch would have been at about 2:30, and I think everybody would have been straight to the pub afterwards. So we had to cut it on the hoof. So we thought, as part of this sort of roundup, catch-up, reminiscence episode of The Fix, we would share the shortlist with everybody. So as you can see on your screen right now, we did a little bit of merch as part of Fix Fest. We commissioned some Fix Fest hats, Make Copy Great Again, and we asked everybody out there in the big wide world to write us was it a 16 or 17 words?
16 you settled on. I thought 17, but you said 16.
16.
I asked some people, but then I just thought I'll let Nick have his way.
Yeah, no, that's usually the best way. So the challenge was write a 16-word pitch for this hat. We had or less, yes. Yeah, obviously it doesn't have to be. You don't have to put Screw Flanders at the end. That's a deep cut Simpsons joke. So we had hundreds of applications, submissions. We were going to choose the winner on the day. Because we didn't get a chance to announce it, what we're going to do is share the shortlist with everybody. So we boiled it down to our favorite 5 pieces, and we would like you to vote on which is your favorite. So you can do that by leaving a comment underneath this video. So that could be on YouTube or on LinkedIn or wherever you're watching this. Is that going to work, Glenn? You're the one.
Yeah. You can leave it anywhere. You can leave. So you can email us at feedback@thefixcopywriting.com. You can find us on Instagram these days. You can find us on LinkedIn, or you can find us on YouTube. We are evolving The Fix into various podcasts, all this kind of stuff. So you might be listening to this, you might be watching it.
We are evolving.
You can find us.
But we're not revolving.
Evolving.
Evolving, but we're not revolving.
We're not revolving. We might be revolving, depending on if I can buy that lazy Susan that's big enough to hold us both.
We're rabbiting. That's what we're doing. Right, let's get stuck in. We'll share our 5 favorite submissions with you. And then please let us know which one is your favorite. And we'll announce the winner in the next episode of The Fix next week.
So for anyone listening, I will read the 5 out, Nick. Yeah. And I will give you one go at responding to each one. That's going to be your...
Well, by respond, do you mean you want me to critique it?
Just a thought.
I'm going to say what I like about it.
Okay, you say what you like about it. So for anybody listening, just to, in case you've not seen it, it's a purple cap. It says "Make Copy Great Again" on the front, a la Donald Trump, the McGa campaign.
The slogan that changed the world.
Slogan that changed the world. Here is the first shortlist entry. Great copy makes presidents. Nick, thoughts?
Why did I like this one? I'm trying to remember. We sat there at a bar trying to decide what we liked them all. What I liked about that was that it was one of the only ones which engaged properly with the original slogan. I think too many people wanted to take a wry look at it, which was like, oh, Trump, rather than thinking, okay, put the product to one side, the original product, which was Donald Trump, and think about how powerful the words were. The dark power, if you want to be political about it, which I don't. And what I liked about this one was that it actually engaged with that original idea, because there was too much cynicism and wry over the shoulder. I don't like Donald Trump, which I think missed the point.
I think it also it pulls out the fact that it's the copy that is the facilitator of things that happens. So Make America Great Again is a piece of copy. It's like the old shampoo thing, like rinse, repeat. That's copy that has made people wash their hair twice when there's literally no need. So it's the power of copy. Is interesting. I also
it's as good as go to work on an egg.
On an egg, dry
literally
on an
sat
egg.
on an egg. Not a soft.
I also spoke to Gabrielle on the night. Dr. Gabrielle.
Lovely chap. He was there at the end. He was there right at the end when we were both
from Germany, I think. Like Berlin coming in. But anyway, so that's number 1. Number 2. Sometimes a great idea just falls out of a copywriter's head. Here's something to catch it.
It's about the currency of copywriting, which is ideas. So we had to give a shout out to something that talked about what it is we do, which is we try and dream up ideas that are memorable enough to maybe make someone do what we want to do.
Yep, I like it. It's just playful. It's all about ideas, and I like using the functionality of a cap. Which was made me think twice. Sean Tim, not sure if I've met him or her. Number 3, the master of all caps, in all caps.
It made me smile.
You campaigned for this one.
Because I love all caps every now and again. I love raising my voice. I've realized I do that when I'm giving feedback to people. If I'm angry, I put all caps on. And I've noticed other people do it too. Somebody gave me feedback on my copy yesterday. It might not be angry, but it's like, right, you need to do this. So I'm a bit of an all caps fan. And there were a few pun entries and we had to let a few through. This one just made me smile. The master of all caps. Just shout. It's a joke about shouting.
There you go. I'm not going to make a J.K. Rowling comment. But anyway. Those who know. The 4th one, trump your competition.
Similar reason to entry number 1, which goes back to the original idea, the original sort of source material, the idea that underpins the whole thing of Make Copy Great Again, which is yeah, I wanted to see more of that because I think that slogan deserves our respect, even if we don't respect the outcome it had on the world.
Cool. And Kaz has that is a rock star name, Kaz Macy Elston. It's just that looks like it's going to be like a BBC Six Music breakthrough star at some point.
Or a novelist, actually.
Or a novelist, yeah. It's just it's the Z with the K. Great. Good name. Number 5, your final entry is what to wear if you've got a receding hairline.
The only one that's a proper pun, proper pun that just made me laugh when this was this was broadcast. I can't choose my word properly. Somebody shared it on LinkedIn.
That's what emanated. You emanate on LinkedIn.
It was auto-generated by the LinkedIn algorithm. No, it was underneath your original post about it. And as I was scrolling through them, thinking pun, I read that and I just laughed. And going back to something that Mark Ford said in his talk, it's so hard to make somebody smile. It's so hard to make somebody laugh. He obviously made the point that it's even harder to get them to take out their credit card and give you $1,000. But there is a base level on which our work functions, which is that we have to be memorable and we have to make an impact on people, and making them smile is a great way of doing that. And I there's just something about the joke about the receding hairline. Hang on, wasn't it receding headline? You've written that wrong.
Have I written it wrong?
Yeah, the original one said what to wear if you've got a receding headline.
Chris, I apologize to Chris. I've known Chris on some time.
Just little copy note. I remembered that. Yeah. I had to correct you, so it went in. I haven't paid that much attention to it.
I was just going to make the comment saying it alludes to the fact that it's a receding headline, and then I was like, no, there you go.
So that made me laugh. Was memorable
on the box. So there your 5. I'll read through them again just so people who've got them. Anybody who's listening, great copy makes presidents. Sometimes a great idea just falls out of a copywriter's head. Here's something to catch it. The master of all caps. Trump your competition. And what to wear if you've got a receding headline. Those are your 5 entries. If you want to vote below, I will be looking out for the people voting for their own. That will be disqualified and cause of a 2-point misdemeanor. But yeah, comment, email me.
It's good stuff, Glenn. It's a 2-point misdemeanor.
Yeah, 2-point misdemeanor. No one likes a 2-point misdemeanor. Right. I say to Ruth often, I'll give her points and take away points just on something as silly as going, oh, you've accidentally walked through that door at the wrong time. That's -2 points.
2 points to Gryffindor.
Yeah, no, don't bring Rowling into it.
Right. No, let's not. And let's wrap this episode up. So we'll be back next week. I might be in Las Vegas or I might not be. Either way, we'll be back here with the fix and we will let everybody know what the winner was. So I'll see you then.
Yes, I will see you then.
If you enjoy the fix and want to get access to even more good stuff, join the Fix Accelerator today. Get access to special masterclasses from Nick and me, watch expert interviews with industry legends, join live copy feedback sessions every week, and get connected to our very own private copy network. Visit thefixaccelerator.com for more information.